I'm sorry, Shiv. And like you should say I'm sorry instead of just sorry. So एक तो ये है that I'm aggressive behavior and I'm like I'm sorry. And one is sorry. So still, you have to balance it out. Like your body
Agreed.
language should be soft and even your wordings.
Right? Just look at my face and what I'm doing with my body. I'm like, I'm sorry, you have to delete it.
Hmm.
Or I could say, look, Muskan, I'm really sorry, but I think this is not where I presented myself the best. So could you please delete it?
Okay.
Right?
Now, what do you think? Like, what should we do if we ever forget mid speech?
We would have an argument and then we can't collaborate in future.
But sometimes
Right.
I feel कि जो इंसान people pleasing करता है, they are more concerned about that person. Like they don't want
Mhm.
कि वो कहीं चला जाए, hurt हो जाए, something like that.
I actually know public speakers that are introverts, that are
Right.
extremely introverted naturally. But when
Mm-hmm.
they're on stage, they have this persona. Self, just use your phone, record it, and keep it for yourself.
Okay, got it. Both of the partners, they are not ready to communicate. Communicate not ऐसे ऊपर से, but दिल से. Fact ये है. तो आप सेल्स
Hmm?
में थे. सेल्स से यू वेंट इनटू पब्लिक स्पीकिंग.
Correct.
राइट. पब्लिक स्पीकिंग कोच. तो ये शिफ्ट
Yes.
कैसे हुआ एंड डिड यू मैनेज टू डू सम डिग्री और समथिंग और व्हाट वाज इट लाइक हाउ डिड यू वेंट हियर?
Yeah, now that's a great question. And Muskan, I think it's a very natural evolution from sales to a public speaking and communication skills coach.
हम्म.
The reason why I do what I do is because, so I'm originally from Rohini, as I was saying, right?
राइट.
And I came to Sydney to finish my master's in 2019.
ओके.
And coming from India, मेरे लिए यहाँ पे आने के बाद, it was very challenging to actually put myself out there.
हम्म.
And मैंने खुद को एक bubble के अंदर confine कर लिया था for the first few months because I was so afraid of speaking English. I was so afraid of saying hello to new
राइट.
people.
हम्म.
And then after I graduated, I thought sales is the best place to just do baptism by fire. And that's what I did. So once I
ओके.
did sales, it opened my eyes, it opened up my mindset कि कैसे हम लोगों का confidence, कैसे हम लोगों का communication skills
हम्म.
can change a person's life. And
राइट.
I had that transformation happen in my life. So I was like, I would love to be able to do this to somebody else. Maybe someone who's really super talented. Their
हम्म.
technical skills are 10 out of 10, but at workplace or at certain settings, they just can't speak confidently. And that
हम्म.
stops them from progressing in life. So, a big part of what I do now is helping those people that are very smart, that are very skilled at
हम्म.
what they do, at their craft, to be able to share what they know confidently and to impact, the world in their
राइट.
own way.
हम्म. ओके. But like, I'll tell you, Shiv, I started hosting events, like fashion
Hmm.
shows and everything. वहां से then I went into podcasting.
Hmm.
Now I make content, podcast भी चलते हैं लेकिन साथ में communication skills videos भी.
Hmm.
Now मैंने कोई डिग्री नहीं की या कोई communication course or something, but that was my experience जिसके basis पे I teach people or something. Now what do you think? Should like किसी ने कोर्स किया है that would be the perfect person to tell या फिर experience के basis पे if someone is telling even that's preferable.
Correct. This is my POV on this craft. Now, I'm going to confine it to what you're talking
Okay.
about communication, right? I'm not talking
Mm-hmm.
about being a doctor. Completely
Mm-hmm.
different craft, completely different set of skills,
Mm-hmm.
different education altogether. But
Right.
as someone who is talking about communication and public speaking,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can learn. Yes, you can do courses, right? There are so many courses. And as a speaker, as a public speaker, I'm always investing in my upskilling. I'm learning through different courses.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean कि आपको वो necessary ही है करना. A
Right.
lot of what I teach
Mm-hmm.
is from my own experience of what I learned knocking on 8,000 doors. I didn't do a
Mm-hmm.
course for it, but I learned on the job. I learned
Mm-hmm.
how to talk to people. I learned how to quickly build rapport. And whatever I learned in real life, in experience, was a course in itself. To answer your question, no, I don't think a course is necessary. to be
Mm-hmm.
better, what is
Mm-hmm.
more necessary is the application of whatever you do. And there is so much of
Okay.
free content, free knowledge, free resource available to everybody. अगर आप YouTube पे जाके लिखो how to be a better public speaker, there are so many videos out
Thousand
there,
of videos. Hmm.
right? But unless you actually pick something from that video and go on stage next time and
Hmm.
implement it, you will not learn.
Okay. Hmm. राइट लाइक बेसिकली व्हाट आई बिलीव इज कि मैंने बहुत सारे इवेंट्स होस्ट किए उसके बाद पॉडकास्टिंग वेयर आई आई कैन टेल कि अच्छा अब गेस्ट का क्या रिस्पॉन्स है ये क्या सोच रहा है एंड एवरीथिंग आई कैन ऑब्जर्व दैट तो उस बेसिस पे एंड ऑल्सो आई रीड अ लॉट डिफरेंट बुक्स रिगार्डिंग कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स एंड सो मच सेल्फ
Mhm.
लर्निंग सो आई
Mhm.
बिलीव ऑल दैट एंड माई लाइक दैट ऑब्जर्वेशन वो सारा एक्सपीरियंस मिला के आई कैन गिव समथिंग टू पीपल. Like, this is what I think. But okay. Like, I saw a video of yours where you were, I think it was a webinar or something. You were having a speech and people were listening to you. Like, public speaking is something, like, दो तरीके के लोग होते हैं public speaking में. एक जो बहुत enjoy करेंगे एंड दूसरा जिनके लिए पब्लिक स्पीकिंग इज अ नाइटमेयर कि बस
Mm.
चार लोगों के आगे बोलना ना पड़ जाए स्कूल्स में भी वी हैव सीन दिस कॉलेजेस में भी
Yeah.
एवरीवेयर व्हाट डू
Yeah.
यू थिंक सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम पब्लिक स्पीकिंग में लोगों को होती क्या है लाइक वो जजमेंट वाली चीज कि लोग जज करेंगे या लैक ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस सबसे मेन चीज क्या है.
I think of all the people that I've talked to, and
हम्म.
personally speaking, fear of judgment and fear of making a fool of yourself is probably up there.
ओके.
Like it might be the biggest reason why people are afraid of public speaking. Because let's say you go out and then you're talking to somebody,
हम्म.
a stranger, but one on one. So if you and that other person, and if you
हम्म.
make a fool of yourself, if you're nervous, if you say something wrong, if you say something incorrectly, it's only one person who's going to judge you. So वहाँ पे
राइट.
जो pressure होता है, it's not as big. And I always say public speaking is two words, right? Public and speaking. That means
स्पीकिंग.
there is a public in front of you. That means
हम्म.
there is not one pair of eyes, there is many pair of eyes on you. Which
हम्म.
means जो pressure है to be
हम्म.
incorrect, to say something wrong, to fumble, to go blank, the pressure is so huge. It's like कि
हम्म.
हम लोगों ने कुछ गलत बोला उसके बाद स्टेज से हम उतरेंगे and these, maybe if you're in your college, you're like, these students are going to see me walking down the auditorium or in the class and they'll remember, oh, Shiv actually bombed their speech on the stage and
राइट.
he made a fool of themselves. So we
हम्म.
start thinking all of this in our mind.
हम्म.
So to answer your question, I think fear of judgment and fear of making a fool of ourselves in front of a in front of public or in front of many is probably the biggest reason why people feel nervous while speaking on stage. And
ओके.
I was one of them as well.
ओह रियली. ओके.
Yeah.
सो बेसिकली आपने टाइम के साथ मास्टर किया ऐसा नहीं था कि
It took
स्टार्टिंग
me
से यू वर लाइक दिस. ओके.
it took me
हम्म.
10 years, Muskan. So I've been doing this. Ventured on this journey 10 years ago in 2015 when I
ओह.
started my undergrad, when I did my
हम्म.
BBA from Delhi, right? So वहाँ पर I started going on stages, taking part in public speaking competitions like debates,
हम्म.
elocutions, youth
हम्म.
parliament, any place where I can go on stage and I
ओके.
could speak, I would sign up for it.
ओके.
And what I do now as a public
हम्म.
speaking coach, recently I went to India for a month, as I was saying, and I've conducted
हम्म.
workshops at IIT Delhi. I've conducted workshop at JNU, Mata Sundari College, Dayal
हम्म.
Singh, right? So all these prestigious universities. But that journey started 10 years ago, and it took me 10 years to get to this point where I'm
हम्म.
skilled enough to hold audience attention. So I think it's, it doesn't change overnight like with
राइट.
any other skill. You need to give it time.
हम्म. ओके. बट लाइक आपको देख के अभी कोई नहीं बता सकता कि एक टाइम पे आप भी शायद अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट टाइप होंगे बट लाइक आपको किस चीज का डर था बचपन में लाइक व्हाट वाज दैट फियर ऑफ
Same.
जजमेंट.
Absolutely. Fear of judgment. Like, what would people say? What in our society, especially, I think in any society, but in Indian society,
हम्म.
सबसे बड़ा, I'm forgetting, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग sort of things, right? Like we
लोग
are
क्या
always
कहेंगे?
of log kya kahenge, right? And we are always under pressure of being perfect, being polished.
Right.
So for me, in my high school, when I was called upon to read something out of an NCRT book in my 10th standard, probably that's the earliest memory I have of having stage fright. So when
Okay.
I went to the stage, Muskan, and I opened up my book, before I could say a word, my throat was dry.
Oh,
And
okay, okay.
I was behind a podium, and my English teacher, Mrs. Sarita Gunyal, amazing teacher, she was sitting on the left. There was a podium, which meant half of my body was hidden from
Okay.
my
Got
classmates
it.
who were
Got
sitting
it.
in front. So Mrs. Sarita Gunyal, who was on the left, could see my whole body. And she looked to the right and she could see my legs were shaking. They were literally
Oh,
shaking.
okay. Got it. Okay.
And then I think she took pity and she was like, okay, Shiv, go back and have a seat.
Okay.
And that was a nerve-wracking moment for me. And when I was walking back to my seat, that's when I realized that how important it is to be able to speak confidently in
Speak.
front of
Okay.
people. And that was in 10th
Hmm.
standard. And that's what I'm saying. After I graduated and I entered my BBA, that's when I was like, "Nope, I need to do this as many times possible to get
Okay.
better at it." And then it took 10
Hmm.
years. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Like, even
Got
right
it.
now, I'm so many mistakes. And I know
Hmm.
10 years after,
Hmm.
I will be a better speaker. You will be a better podcaster. We are
Right.
always on this journey of constant
Got it.
growth and evolution.
Improvement. Basically improvement. Okay. But like what a great journey, Shiv. Like you were kind of underconfident kid और वहां से यहाँ तक पहुंचना. Like amazing to see yourself grow. Like your graph is literally like this. But okay, it's amazing. But
Thank
I
you.
I saw one of your reel that was what if you forget mid speech? And I think this is very common, कि कभी ना कहीं हुआ होगा that you are speaking or mid speech you are like okay. Now what I read in one of the book was कि for example you ever felt like that I got stuck. Okay, so instead of using filler words like or thinking, you can take a intentional pause, like for 1 or 2 seconds, and then you can again come to that zone. Now, what do you think? Like, what should we do if we ever forget mid speech?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna
Hmm.
happen more often than you think.
Right.
So even to this date, I've spoken in front of thousands and thousands of people. Even
Hmm.
now, I go blank sometimes. So
Okay.
first thing, realize it's gonna happen. It can happen to the best of us. And
Right.
once you think that, you take the pressure off. You get shit. If I forget, I'm not
Hmm.
going too hard on me. Shift. Ye bhi bhul gaya, and on stage, you're just getting into that negative self talk. It's gonna
Hmm.
happen. It's okay. Now, how
Hmm.
do you come back from it? Couple of different ways, Muskan. Like you
Okay.
rightly said, the first one of the ways is just
Pause. Okay. Okay.
doing what I just did, right? Just
Hmm.
pausing because you know your script, you have practiced it. The audience doesn't know; they're listening it to the first time. So
Hmm.
if you forget, and I'll give you this example. If you let's
Hmm.
say I'm saying da 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 da, and Muskan, I need to tell you that. Oh
Okay.
shit! Oh, what was the next thing? If your face tells it that you have forgotten, then the audience know you
Right.
don't know what you're talking about. But if I
Hmm.
say, let me tell you, Muskan, there is a very important point. And in that
Right.
pause, right,
Hmm.
I'm looking at you, I'm looking at the audience, I'm not
Hmm.
looking at the floor, not looking at the sky, not giving any signs that is telling the audience
Stressful
I've
face
forgotten.
expression.
Yeah, correct. I'm just
Hmm.
looking confidently everybody in the eye like it's an intentional pause. And in my
Right.
mind, I'm trying to remember what's the next thing. It'll come to
Hmm.
you. So that's one of the ways. Other way, Muskan, is also sometimes you can just say, oh shit, I actually forgot what I was going to say next.
Right.
Or
Confront it. Okay.
confront, yeah, just let the audience know because people connect to people, right? Humans
Hmm.
connect to humans and
Hmm.
humans make mistakes.
Hmm.
If you're too
Right.
polished sometimes, then it can become hard for the audience to connect with you because you're too polished, you're too perfect. If you make
Right.
mistakes,
Hmm.
they think, okay, this guy is just like me. They make
Hmm.
mistake. This speaker made a mistake. Okay, I can build trust. So
Hmm.
psychologically, they can maybe trust you more.
Okay.
Of course, you can't use this card every time. Let's say अगर आपकी 1 घंटे की pitch है, 1 घंटे की talk है, and you forgot 10 times, and 10 times you have said, I've forgotten, sorry, I've forgotten. That's a bad impression too. So
Right.
you use
Obviously.
your fair judgment, but you either take a pause,
Hmm.
look the audience in their eyes, make it
Hmm.
intentional, or you could also just tell them, I've forgotten, give me a few seconds to recollect my thoughts.
Okay. Okay. Like I saw that video of yours. I think you went back to where you wrote everything and you read it. Did you confront to the audience? Like I'm not sure right now.
No, not that time. As I said,
Right.
like you don't have to do it every time, but you
Hmm.
could also do it. It depends on the nature of the presentation. It depends on the
Okay.
audience, what you're talking about, what the setting is. Maybe if it is a bit more casual, it's not too formal, not too high stakes situation, that's when you can go, I've forgotten. But if it is a high stakes situation, you'd want to come across as an expert,
Right.
maybe you can avoid using it.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Now I got it. But also, Shiv, like introverts, people, those who are introverts, I think they face a lot of difficulty. Difficulty as in they can't make friends easily, they can't open up to people, you know, and there are so many opportunities जो चली जाती हैं, like just because
Yeah.
they are introvert. If so, and
Yes.
this is the most, like common question that people ask me, like they DM me that, Muskan, we are an introvert, we don't know how to open up, we don't know how to make friends. So what should we do? Now I'm asking this to you because you are more experienced than me. That in case someone is introvert, what should they do?
Okay. Could I ask before I answer and share
Hmm?
my thoughts? Could I ask, do you identify yourself as an introvert, an extrovert, an ambivert? What do you think you are?
I think like ambivert, like I don't know, I'll tell you and you can tell me. Like, obviously, I can talk to anyone if I have to, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like that intentionally. I'll go and talk to him and like everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I can, but I don't basically like too much.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's a very tricky question. I get, as a public speaking and communication skills coach, I get this question all the time, and
Okay.
I generally tell people that, hey, I actually know public speakers that are introverts, that are
Right.
extremely introverted naturally, but when
Mm-hmm.
they're on stage they have this persona, there's this personality that they
Mm-hmm.
bring out to speak to a large audience. So I think,
Right.
yes, your personality type would impact how you
Mm-hmm.
speak in front of
Mm-hmm.
an audience, but it is not the end. Like if you're an introvert, it doesn't mean you can never speak in front of a large audience.
Right.
Now, what is a difference between an introvert or an extrovert trying to get better at public speaking
Mm-hmm.
is that an introvert would need to start smaller. What I
Okay.
mean by that, let's say if you're an introvert, you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to become a better communicator, you're trying to become a better public speaker,
Mm-hmm.
don't go and speak in front of 100 people tomorrow because it's going to be a very nerve wracking experience.
Okay.
What you could rather do is that you can say hello to somebody in the queue while you're waiting for a coffee.
Right.
Or
Hmm.
you can go to a networking event and you can shake one hand, not speaking to a lot of people. So
Okay.
you're slightly exposing yourself
Mm-hmm. Okay.
instead of blasting yourself
Okay.
into this arena. So for an introvert, it could be, hey, every day I'll say hello to one new person, a new stranger, maybe while I am in public transport, while I am on my way to work. Maybe at work, I'll say hello to somebody who is in the lift with me. Hi, how are you?
Okay.
I'm Shiv. How's the day going? Right. To one new person, only one new person, one day. So
Okay.
आप धीरे धीरे exposure build कर रहे हो. आप
Mm-hmm.
धीरे धीरे वो skill build कर रहे हो of saying hello to somebody new. And
Hmm.
again, as I said in the beginning, it's only one pair of eyes watching you instead of many when you talk
Right.
to one person.
Okay.
And धीरे धीरे when you start
Mm-hmm.
doing this over time,
Mm-hmm.
you can then, okay, maybe I'll go to a place जहाँ पे सिर्फ 3 लोग बोल रहे हैं. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe you start giving speeches in front of your family,
Hmm.
of your friends, like people
Okay.
who know you. and you slightly, slowly expose yourself to public speaking. That's what I would do.
Okay. Like also, Shiv, I read this somewhere. Like voice recording भेजना. It is very small thing, you know. Like किसी को भी अपनी voice recording भेज देना. But the fact is, 90% of people, they just can't. Like imagine they can't send their voice recording. क्यों? क्योंकि उनको, you know, they are not open up to all these things. They have fear of judgment
Yeah.
on next level. तो अगर आप इस छोटी चीज से भी
Yes.
स्टार्ट करोगे तो वो माइंड ऐसे
Yes.
रिट्रेन हो जाएगा, you know.
Yes.
Like
I
this is a very
agree.
small
Agree.
habit.
Agree. And Muskan, I
Hmm.
usually also share one more thing that somebody can do. Let's say
Okay.
they're at a point जहाँ पे वो voice recording भी नहीं भेजना चाहते, what they can do, right? So I'll, I'll, I'll tell you guys exactly what you can do. So take your smartphone, right?
Okay.
And then every day,
Hmm.
put it put it on a tripod if you have a tripod, or hold it in your hand, keep it somewhere, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Turn on the camera and think of a random topic. Just say, what's my favorite food? Where do I
Hmm.
want to live when I'm 50 years old? Doesn't matter. The topic doesn't matter. Think of a
Okay.
topic and start speaking in front of that camera. Record yourself. Okay.
Right.
Now, what is happening, Muskan? You are recording it on your own phone. आप किसी को भेज नहीं रहे हो, not to
Right.
your friends or family. It's
Hmm.
not going on social media. It's just gonna live safely in your phone's gallery. इसका मतलब fear of judgment हट गया, right? There is no one else watching it other than
You.
you,
Right.
right? So
Okay.
you
Okay.
can take the fear of judgment out. Every day you create a video for 2 to 5 minutes. Talk about
Hmm.
random stuff. Talk about
Hmm.
anything you want. You know, anything that comes to your mind, anything you're passionate about, but it's just
Hmm.
only for you. Do this for 14 days.
Right.
And starting in there, I'm pretty sure if you haven't done this exercise, you will feel cringe. Now, Muskan, I don't know about you because you create videos, I create videos. When I
Hmm.
started, I used to cringe watching my own video. I used to just go like, I can't hear my
Okay.
own
Right.
voice,
Got it. Okay. Got it. I think सबके साथ
right?
होता है ये.
So exactly, like we don't like our own voice, we don't like our own face. It's gonna
Right.
happen, but slowly 7 days तक maybe आप देखो भी मत अपनी videos, बस बनाते जाओ उन्हें रखते जाओ.
Hmm.
Slowly again exposure, right? Slow exposure.
Hmm.
After a while, on the 8th day you're like, okay, I'll watch what I made, and on
Okay.
the ninth
Got
day you're
it.
like, okay, I'll watch again what I made. So
Hmm.
slowly you're getting used to listening to your own voice,
Hmm.
seeing your own face, and you can track the improvement. Because day one ki video is gonna be shit compared
Right.
to day 30th video. Like our
Right.
videos, when we started creating videos, our first video is way worse than what we are doing right now.
Right. You know
So
what,
if
Shiv?
you,
Please continue.
I'm just gonna close this off saying, if you are also at a point जहाँ पे आप किसी को voice note भेजने से भी डरते हो, audio note भेजने से डरते हो, just keep it for your own self. Just use your phone, record it, and keep it for yourself.
Okay, got it. But you know, Shiv, like you are absolutely right. जो मेरी starting की videos थी, I'll honestly tell you, till date, I can't watch them. I'm like, what is it? Like,
Maybe
really,
you
I just
should
can't
post them,
watch.
Muskan.
No,
Post them
it is on
online.
Instagram. Like
अच्छा.
when I started creating content, तो वहां की जो starting की videos हैं, right now,
Mm-hmm.
like because improvement बहुत हुई है. You know, it's been an year. अब
Mm-hmm.
जिस stage पे मैं हूँ, अब if I look back, then I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I tell you a funny thing. ये जो आपने exercise बताई, I made a video of this
Mm-hmm.
same exercise. I told
Mm-hmm.
people कि जब आप बनाओगे, फिर आप खुद को ऑब्जर्व करोगे. ऑब्जर्व एज इन हैंड मूवमेंट्स कैसे हैं आपके, यू नो व्हाट आर योर एक्सप्रेशंस, हाउ डू यू लुक, यू नो. आई मेड अ वीडियो एंड पीपल वर सो फनी इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. दे वर लाइक घर वाले पागल समझेंगे अगर ऐसे वीडियो बनाएंगे तो. एंड लाइक दे टुक इट इन वेरी फन वे. बट बेसिकली
Yeah.
few people they personally messaged me that, you know, we were so shy and we felt so cringe doing this कि अकेले रूम में कैमरा है and we are just talking, but it felt good. We felt like kind of extrovert for the very first time. So this is
Yeah.
a pretty good exercise.
Agreed.
Okay. Also, Shiv, like, do you think body language matters like more than your words sometimes, or as important as your words are?
I would say it's not black or white, it is gray area. So not always body language would matter more than your words,
Okay.
and vice versa. Not always your words can overshadow the body, what the
Okay.
body is doing, right? Like you can
Mm-hmm.
have the best intention, you can have the best words, but if your body language is too aggressive for the audience, and it doesn't resonate with the audience, they would not want to listen to you.
Okay.
So as a speaker, it's your job to make sure there is congruency, there is
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying, and the way you are saying it should match to the audience. So I don't
Okay.
think it's either or, both are important.
Mm-hmm.
And as a speaker, it is your job, again, I would say it is your job to make sure what you're doing with your body, what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing with your voice,
Right. Okay.
you're always, always, always aware of it, not just
Mm-hmm.
the words.
Okay. Like I believe, Shiv, that you should have a balance. Balance as in, for example, I did something and I'm like, I'm sorry, Shiv. And like you should say I'm sorry instead of just sorry. So एक तो ये है that I'm in a aggressive behavior and I'm like I'm sorry, and one is sorry. So still, you have to balance it out. Like your body
Agreed.
language should be soft and even your wordings. But okay.
Yeah, for an example, right? Like it's a great example. I'm sorry, it's fantastic. So for an
Mm-hmm.
example, let's say Muskan, I tell you after this podcast recording that hey, you can't use this. I'm not happy with the recording, and
OMG.
you gotta delete it. So
Hmm.
I can go, I'm sorry, you have to delete it, right? Just look at my face and what I'm doing with my body. I'm like, I'm sorry, you have to delete it.
Hmm.
Or I could say, look, Muskan, I'm really sorry, but I think this is not where I presented myself the best. So could you please delete it?
Okay.
Right. So, like to give you an example,
Hmm.
this is a very basic, very, very
Right.
over exaggerated example, but
Mm-hmm.
just saying, I'm sorry, and then not meaning it. The words are the same, and then saying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Muskan, could we record this? Something. So,
Okay.
as you said, there should be a balance of what you're saying and the way you're saying it too, with your facial
Okay.
expressions, with your body language.
ओके लेकिन अगर आपने ये रियलिटी में बोला तो हार्ट अटैक आ जाएगा माय टीम
We'll,
विल बी
we'll
लाइक ओएमजी
we'll see. We'll see after the end.
प्लीज शिव
I'm s-
प्लीज बी पॉजिटिव ओके
I'm sorry, Muskan. I'm just
you
kidding.
are
I'm just
literally
kidding.
giving me a tag but
No, no,
okay okay
I'm just
like shiv
kidding.
I observed this like for example you had an argument आपका किसी के साथ एक argument हुआ and you are kind of giving explanation what I have noticed is that when you over explain फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू आर ऑनेस्ट यू आर वेरी ऑनेस्ट आपने कुछ गलत नहीं किया बट यू हैव टू गिव योर एक्सप्लेनेशन तो हमारा एकदम से बिहेवियर होगा ओवर एक्सप्लेन करना लेकिन वेन यू ओवर एक्सप्लेन तो सामने वाले का रिएक्शन इज काइंड ऑफ डल डल एज एन यू नो दे आर लाइक ओके काइंड ऑफ डू यू थिंक ओवर एक्सप्लेनिंग इज बैड you should not do it?
I don't. I think it's not just an arguments. Over explaining is bad generally,
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
and I'll tell you why. Because our attention spans are very short,
Hmm.
and if you over explain something to somebody and you're repeating the same thing, right? People say, "Get to the point. Don't beat around the bush." There is a reason.
Got it. Hmm.
If you can say the same, I I'm gonna paraphrase this quote. It was along the lines,
Mm-hmm.
somebody said that, sorry, my letter is too long. I didn't have enough time to shorten it,
Okay. Okay.
right? Because it takes time, it takes more effort to say the same thing in shorter,
Got it.
in less words than
Mm-hmm.
it takes to just wobble and wobble. And I'm always also getting better at doing this in my
Okay.
workshop, that how can I say the same thing more succinctly, more concisely, to the
Mm-hmm.
point where it makes sense to them without me beating around the bush. So
Okay.
to answer your question, I think over explaining is generally bad in any
Mm-hmm.
any situation, let alone in an argument. And yes, of course, in an argument, if you know you were doing the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
you I think you over explain because you're coming from a place of, oh, I was doing the right thing, so I need to let them know why I did
Right.
it. But
Right.
you're also gonna lose
Mm-hmm.
respect in your own eyes if you're right and you're over explaining things. So be concise, And there is a framework to be more concise with your answers. You can use this in interviews, you can use this in day-to-day conversation. I'll
Okay.
quickly share this. So it is called PREP, PREP. So it's an acronym. I'll say that again. PREP, P for parrot, right? Sorry. P for point,
Okay.
R for reason,
Okay.
E for example,
Mm-hmm.
and last P for point again. So let's say somebody asks you a question in an interview and you don't know how to structure it. Very quickly, if you just use this framework, ask me a question that you would probably get in an interview, Muskan. Let's say you are the interviewer, which you are,
Okay.
honestly. You are doing
Okay.
that, but in an interview in a more formal setting, ask me a question.
How do you think coming here will benefit you? That was a bad question, maybe, but okay.
Okay, so coming here in the as in the podcast, right?
Right, right.
Great question. I think it's a great question. So I think coming to this podcast would help me have this conversation with you. And I believe when I have this conversation with somebody in the similar space, you will ask me questions that will make me also come up with good answers. And it's a conversation which I believe is going to help both of us.
Okay.
Secondly, I think it's very good for my visibility because I'm a public speaking coach who is trying to expand into India. Mostly I do work in Sydney. And as you said, most of your audience is in India.
Right.
So when I do this podcast with you, I'm also tapping into your audience. If I say something that is valuable to them, they will want to check out what I do.
Right.
So I think those are the reasons I think this podcast is going to help me. And yeah, I think it's going to be good for my brain and visibility.
Great answer. I think question इतना अच्छा नहीं था जितना आंसर अच्छा था.
Nahin, that was
Perfect.
a great question as well. But I use the prep framework to answer it as well. I'll tell you
Okay.
how. You asked me a question, how is this going to benefit me? So I started with the point. I started with the point. Told कि क्योंकि you do the same thing as I do, this conversation is going to help both of us. Also, you have an audience in India, which will help me give the visibility. I told you the points directly. फिर
Okay.
reason दिया मैंने उसका क्या था कि I'm trying to expand into India, so tapping into that Indian audience is going to help me. Reason.
Okay.
And then if I could have thought of an example, maybe I could have used it, but there was no example, so I skipped it. And then I closed with the point again saying, coming here will help me with my brand visibility and my brain to sharpen up. So if you get asked a question, you don't know how to structure the answer, just start with the point, then give the reason behind that point. If you can think of a relevant example, and then summarize with the point again. Very easy. Prep. PREP.
But this is very useful, like एक छोटी सी चीज and it can be impactful as hell. But okay, okay. But are you really planning to expand your audience in India?
Of course, yes.
Okay, okay. I think Indian
It's a
audience
it's
will
a
love
beautiful
you.
it's a beautiful. Thank you. I think it's it's a place where I believe there's so much talent and there's so many great, beautiful, brilliant minds, and a lot of us. When I say us, because I'm from India, a lot of us get in our own head because sometimes if it is English, right? If you're speaking in English, एक the English second language है, वो barrier होता है. वहीं पे थोड़ा सा confidence कम हो जाता है.
Right.
Even if you have great things to say, if you have to say it in your second language, it's not easy, right? So I understand that. I know that because I speak English as my second language. And then B, I think after English, public speaking is also something that we are not taught. In
Right.
Australia, funny enough, I learned कि यहाँ पर स्कूल के अंदर public speaking भी सिखाया जाता है बच्चों को. So
Really?
it's actually, yeah, it's a class and
Oh,
they
okay.
get taught public speaking. So because of these reasons, I would love to do more work in India and help Indian community to develop confidence in public speaking.
You know what, Shiv? I feel कि यहाँ पे स्पेशली इन इंडिया like वो बोलते हैं ना कि इस चीज की डिमांड बहुत ज्यादा है. Like just because I'm creating content and people, they message their problem and everything, I realized one thing. दूसरे देश में शायद जो बच्चे हैं, they are more confident, इन चीजों के लिए they don't need so much of help. लेकिन यहाँ के बच्चे, if you ask someone that, okay, what is your name? sometimes they can't even tell their name. They will be too shy, मम्मी के पीछे जाके छुप जाएंगे, जवाब नहीं देंगे, स्माइल करके रह जाएंगे. This is a bigger problem in India, and if you're solving that, so it can be good for you and for them as well. But okay, great. Also, Shiv, like I believe sometimes people show their dominance as in dominating behavior, Now, how to escape that, or what should you do if someone is like showing that command on you that, okay, I owe you?
I think I kind of understand your question, but could you be a bit more specific so I can answer it to the question
I'll tell you.
succinctly?
I'll tell you. Sometimes people are like, for example, I told you to do something. लेकिन
Mhm,
आपने मेरी ना सुन के अपनी मर्जी से कोई और चीज की. ओके.
mhm.
नाउ आई विल बी लाइक कि जस्ट बिकॉज यू डिडंट लिसन मी और आपने मेरी बात नहीं मानी, आई विल बी काइंड ऑफ नाराज, थोड़ा सा नाराज होके आई विल बिहेव डोमिनेटिंगली दैट ओके यू डिडंट लिसन मी सो आई एम नॉट गोना बी दैट काइंड टू यू. सो इन दैट सिचुएशन.
Okay, and then is that a workplace setting, or because like very different if it is home, it is workplace, it is business. So I think it depends on the setting, but I understand the general
Not
question.
business,
So
not business. Like, for example, you are in college, you are in
yeah,
school, or basically they
yes,
are your friends who
yes,
are behaving this way.
right. So Muskan, there are a lot of good books. One of them is Never Split the Difference, and getting to yes, you might have read them.
Yes.
They're written on negotiation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's so many techniques. I'll quickly share one that I really like, and
Okay.
it said, okay, instead of looking at the person as the problem,
Mm-hmm.
look problem
Behavior?
separately.
Okay.
Separately, like let's
Okay.
say Muskan, you and I are doing this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and I cancel on you twice, right? And the third time, like I cancel, I was like, okay, let's schedule this podcast, and I cancel it twice. I
Mm-hmm.
say I'm busy, I can't do this. Third time, you're like, Shiv, I have more followers than you. Like I'm actually giving you this opportunity. What's happening? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's say then we would have an argument, and then we can't collaborate in future.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna say, what I'm telling is, instead of having me as the problem, we can say, okay, there is a problem that he has cancelled twice. So Muskan comes,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, Shiv, so like we have actually planned this twice, and you have cancelled it twice.
Right.
Is everything okay? What was the
Mm-hmm.
reason it didn't happen? Can
Mm-hmm.
we work on it together, and then maybe make sure that the third time is more suitable for both of us?
Okay.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
instead of seeing me as the problem, you
Mm-hmm.
see cancellation as the problem. And it could be very well, I go like, Muskan, it's actually because of the time zone difference. I'm in Sydney. I
Okay.
am 4.5 hours ahead of you. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's right now, like, it's almost 8 p.m. Muskan, Sydney is 4.5 hours ahead. And every time we plan this, it's at
Mm-hmm.
8 p.m., so it's 12 a.m. for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very basic example, but to answer your question is, sometimes we can separate the problem from the persons, and you're like, okay, this is the problem, and we both
Okay.
are looking at it objectively, and we're like, okay, how can we solve this problem to get to this outcome that we both want? So we
Okay.
separate the problem from the person. Not always
Mm-hmm.
the person is the problem. There could be a problem which is out of their own hand. So I think the first thing is that empathy. Okay, what's happening, trying to understand as well,
Okay.
why is this person behaving this way, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have that empathy,
Mm-hmm.
then you can build from there.
ओके. एंड व्हाट ऑफ दैट प्रॉब्लम जो वो इंसान मेंशन कर रहा है दैट इज यूजलेस, लाइक इट डजंट मेक एनी सेंस. व्हाट
Mhm.
शुड यू डू इन दैट सिनेरियो? लाइक शुड
Yeah,
यू जस्ट बैक ऑफ?
I think I heard this from someone very old.
ओके.
They said, pick your battles. And I think it's very true. Sometimes we want to fight every battle that is in front of us, but
हम्म.
as you mature and as you grow in life, you start to realize that not every battle is worth fighting. So you need to be very
ओके.
aware, and I guess very conscious of what battle are you picking to fight. Sometimes they're like,
ओके.
okay, if I fight this battle, is it actually just gonna help me boost my ego? I actually want this, or is it actually
Mm-hmm.
going to help me grow as a person? And if the answer is, it'll feel good to fight this battle, even though if I
Okay.
don't get anything out of it, maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not worth your time. Maybe it's not worth your effort. Maybe it's not
Energy.
worth
Okay.
your energy. Correct. And then
Mm-hmm.
once you do find something that is worth fighting for, that's when you put more energy and effort into that.
Okay. But also, Shiv, like in Indian parenting, like I don't know about what happens in Australia or US. Like obviously, I know theoretical that they are little, like open up about all these things. But in India, especially, you will see kids don't have too much communication with their family.
Mhm.
Generally, if you ask boys, like I'll tell you, 80% scenario is where they don't communicate much with their father. And that's the reason कि जो वो उनका bond है, they lack there too much. Now, sometimes it's on kid कि वो communicate नहीं करते. Like, have you ever seen, like, just because you have talked to so many people, that parents lack that communication wala part, just because they are not good in it.
I have no idea, honestly. I think this is more of a
Okay, new
parenting
information.
coach. No, no, this is more of a parenting coach question than a public
Okay.
speaking coach question, because I think like parenting itself is such a tricky thing, and I guess no one is ever
Mm-hmm.
prepared for it. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
parent myself, so I really don't know how that dynamics work.
Okay. But like the reason I asked you this is कि communication I believe कि थोड़ा सा घर से भी इंसान सीखता है. घर से as in कि
Absolutely.
how you communicate with your family, which kind of bond do you have. Like for example, I have a brother. He's 4 years elder than me, and he's completely into business and that stuff. And like सबसे ज़्यादा if I love someone, so he's that person. Like 24 hours we work together, we eat food and everything. So usse my communication is like I can't go an hour without talking to him. That kind of.
Hmm.
Now cut
Hmm.
to I see people like brothers, sisters, they don't communicate much, they don't give importance to each other much. So I think communication plays role in building your relationship that way.
No, yeah, when you explain that way, yes, communication is important because it connects with people, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
communication, if you think about how we humans have evolved and what we do now, a lot of it has happened because we developed language and we are able to communicate with each other at a
Right.
level that no other animal could,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even dolphins can communicate with each other, chimpanzees, all these animals can
Mm-hmm.
communicate, but not to a level जहाँ पे हम लोग कर सकते हैं as
Right.
humans. So
Right.
that is definitely our advantage कि हम लोग, we can plan, we can dream things, and then we can work on it together by explaining it, by vocalizing it now,
Right.
right? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
in caveman days it was through drawings on the caves, but
Right.
that was the mode of communication. But in its essence, communication has helped us to advance as a civilization because now we can work together, we can
Hmm.
build things together when we communicate. So, yes, I agree. It brings people together no matter what relationship you have with that person.
Hmm. Do you believe if you stop communicating to someone, for example, आपका कोई दोस्त है और एक लड़ाई हो गई, थोड़ी बहुत कोई लड़ाई, उसके बाद you both stop talking to each other, तो ऑटोमेटिकली आपका जो वो बॉन्ड था वो दूर होता चला जाएगा, वो कंफर्ट चला जाएगा एंड एवरीथिंग विल मूव.
Yes, I think so, absolutely. Because
हम्म.
if, again, putting back to that argument, if you had an argument, then
हम्म.
if you're both like, नहीं पहले वो sorry बोलेगा, वो like, नहीं मैं क्यों sorry बोलूं,
हम्म.
पहले वो sorry बोलेगा. And if you both have your egos, blown up and you're putting your egos higher than the friendship itself, of course that
हम्म.
friendship is gonna die. But again, just as I said, if you had an argument, okay, you're like, okay, we have been friends for so long. Why
हम्म.
did this happen? Let's look at the problem
राइट.
objectively.
ओके.
We want to
हम्म.
save our friendship. I have an issue with you, yes, like we are friends and you did this to me, which
हम्म.
hurt me, but let me understand why you did that. And let me tell you
ओके.
why it hurt me. So
हम्म.
having a discussion, sitting down, having that conversation is gonna save that friendship for sure. But जहाँ पर हम लोगों की ego is more important than that
राइट.
friendship, it's gonna erode. But let's
Hmm.
say I have friends. I've been in Sydney for 6 years, right? And
Hmm.
I have friends, very great friends in India,
Hmm.
that I don't necessarily talk to every day. But
Right.
even when I go back to Delhi now, when I talk to them, it's like old
Same.
days, instantly,
Right.
instantly.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
even if you don't communicate every single day,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
it really depends on the friendship itself.
Okay, got it. But you know,
What
Shiv,
is your take?
I'll tell you, daily बात करने के लिए, my dog, excuse her, hey,
That's all right. What dog do you have?
she lives in the streets, but just because I love her so much, she come and sit here.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and now I'm about to shant. Okay, so what I was about to tell you is,
See, that
I
was communication itself.
I just did her this way, and she's like, little calm down. Like, sure, I'll tell
So
you.
cute.
Basically, like my school friends. I don't have any college friend or something because I didn't went to college. That's the reason. Okay, friendship वाला. Let me tell you कि daily जिनसे बात हो जाए वो एक दो ही हैं. लेकिन बाकी ऐसे हैं कि अगर उनसे एक हफ्ते में या एक महीने में 5 महीने में भी बात होगी, so it's the same. जहां पे बात खत्म की थी बात वहीं से शुरू होगी, it's like that.
Mhm,
Okay, so I
mhm.
want to ask
And
this to
it's so
you.
important to
Hmm.
have those. It's so important to have those friendships as well, where
Right.
it can stand the test of time.
Obviously, I have a friend of mine, her name is Ria. So she is like an elder sister to me, even though we are the same age, बस 8 महीने बड़ी है. But she is like the go to person, like daily or the second day I have to talk to her. लेकिन दोनों तरीके की friendships हैं, I manage all of that, we're okay. Now see, one thing ये मेरे को personally I stuck here, and this is my personal question to you. My friends complain about this कि मेरी ये बहुत बुरी आदत है. That is, for example, आप एक problem में हो and you did something, like extremely wrong or something, and you are telling to me, आप मेरे से बात कर रहे हो उस बारे में. Now I am someone कि आई एम लाइक ठीक है ये चीज हो गई, अब इसका सॉल्यूशन ढूंढते हैं. लाइक इंस्टेड ऑफ रिपीटिंग द प्रॉब्लम और प्रॉब्लम पे बात करना, सॉल्यूशन ढूंढते हैं इसका. एंड आई ऑफर इमीडिएट सॉल्यूशन. नाउ दे आर लाइक दैट समटाइम्स वी डोंट नीड अ सॉल्यूशन, वी जस्ट वांट कि तुम सुनो. ओके, बट माय टेक ऑन दिस इज कि प्रॉब्लम तो जब सॉल्व होगी जब सॉल्यूशन मिलेगा. यू विल बी हैप्पी जब ये प्रॉब्लम चली जाएगी. तो ऑफरिंग सॉल्यूशन इज मोर प्रेफरेबल टू मी. बट लाइक व्हाट शुड यू डू इन दैट सिचुएशन?
Right. So Muskan, my understanding is, as I'm 27 years old now, and
Mm-hmm.
over the last decade or so, I've had those conversations, and I've been the person who was venting sometimes, and I've been the person who was
Okay.
on the other side
Mm-hmm.
of when someone was venting to me. And
Mm-hmm.
what I've realized is, you might have a solution focused brain. You want to jump onto the solution. You want to
Mm-hmm.
fix the problem, which
Mm-hmm.
is great.
Mm-hmm.
What I've realized in life, Muskan, is that we can't expect everyone to have the same mindset that we do. Like, we can't expect
Okay.
everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone has their own lens towards life,
Mm-hmm.
and even though we want, I agree that we want to solve that, and for that we need to get to the gist of it.
Right.
Sometimes for somebody else, they just want, in they want someone to just listen to them. They don't
Okay.
want a solution. Even if they can just tell somebody their problem, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna solve that problem, even
Mm-hmm.
if you didn't talk about the solution.
Mm-hmm.
So what I generally do, Muskan,
Mm-hmm.
with anybody that now comes to me with a problem, or if they are stressed, I
Mm-hmm.
literally, first of all, show empathy by saying, like, whatever happened to you,
Mm-hmm.
you
Got
didn't
it.
deserve it, to the extent that what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ask them, do you actually want to, just, do you want me to just listen to you right now, or do you want to work on a solution right now? I ask
Okay.
it very calmly. I give
Mm-hmm.
them the opportunity of what they want. And if they
Okay.
go like, Shiv, right now I don't think I'm in the right mindset to even think about the solution, I just want somebody to listen to me. I'm like,
Okay.
okay, I'm here. I would not
Mm-hmm.
talk about solution. I'll just listen to you. And I'll listen attentively, right? I'm not like a
Okay.
chapol diya, to I'm out with the fairies and I'm like
Okay.
thinking about a best
Okay.
solution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually listening to them. But if they
Mm-hmm.
go like, Shiv, actually, I think no, we need to work on a solution. Then like, okay, let's figure out a plan and let's see what's gonna happen. So
Mm-hmm.
my 2 cents on this is, Muskan, try this next time. If somebody comes to you with a problem, you can
Mm-hmm.
just ask them, hey friend, do you want me to just listen to you right now? Do you just want to share? Or
Mm-hmm.
do you want to work on a solution and let's figure out how we can fix it. And based
Okay.
on their response, you be that person to that person.
Okay. But like I have realized maybe due to my work or whatever it is, my brain is like, for example, you are in problem. Now work on the solution immediately. Like don't waste your time on the problem or something. But they preferred a slow kind of thing. That okay, first you
Mhm.
hear me. लेकिन
Mhm.
I get irritated जब वो प्रॉब्लम को ही 3 से 4 दिन लेंगे उसी को गाने में,
Yeah,
again they
yeah.
are
So
on
look,
top.
that's different. So what we were talking about earlier is someone is coming to you with a problem for the first time. Give
That's
them some
different.
time,
Hmm.
right? Like give
Hmm.
them time to just get it out of their chest,
Hmm.
just get it out of the system. But
Hmm.
I, if it is someone who is gonna repeat that over many, and again, like I don't want to discredit somebody's problem because problems we alag alag levels ki hote hain,
Hmm. Right.
right?
Hmm.
For someone, let's say who, very basic example, someone who lost their favorite pen,
Okay.
right? Very
Hmm.
basic problem, as compared
Hmm.
to someone who lost their dog, very different problem,
Right.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it depends on the problem as well. कि कितना उन्हें time लगेगा to recover from that problem. So
Okay.
if there is a pen,
Hmm.
yeah, right, I'm like, it was a pen, okay, it was important to you, but now let me buy you a new pen. But if it
Okay.
was a dog, maybe it is a longer recovery for that as well. So it
Okay.
depends on the intensity of the problem or the challenge. But then, of course, you as a friend, it's your job to help them see what's next, and it,
Right.
it might take some time. What other thing that I realize is sometimes people like having these discussions in the places they prefer, right? Agar मान लो
Okay.
I'm having a solution focused discussion with somebody in their room, they
Hmm.
might not open up there. But if I go out for a walk with them, or if I go to a cafe and have a coffee and I discuss
Okay.
that, it might be a new environment to look at the same problem. So कई बारी हमारी जो setting होती है, environment होता है, if you change that,
Hmm.
people are
Okay.
more open to having a conversation about the same thing that they did not want to talk about maybe in their room or in a
Okay.
different setting.
Oh, okay. But I'll try this, from today onwards, I'll try this. But now, like taking this podcast to little end, I have like last 2 questions. See, like Shiv, people pleasing, like I read this somewhere that kindness is, we talk about kindness. So kindness is that I want to help you. Like I'm helping you because I want to. People pleasing is I'm
Mhm.
helping you because I'm scared of the fact कि अगर मैं नहीं करूंगी तो आप गुस्सा हो जाओगे, नाराज हो जाओगे, or you will be in that attitude. But sometimes
Right.
I feel कि जो इंसान people pleasing करता है, they are more concerned about that person. Like they don't want
Mhm.
कि वो कहीं चला जाए, hurt हो जाए, something like that. लेकिन slowly slowly वो people pleasing उसको damage करेगी इंसान को. Damage as in
Yes.
mentally, their peace. So what's your take on people pleasing? Like should you completely stop this or what?
No, I think you put it pretty concisely that kindness is important. Like you should have kindness and empathy toward anyone that you meet.
Right.
Not always to an extent where you're putting them on a pedestal and you're putting your own
Hmm.
interest below their interest.
Hmm.
Sometimes you might have to, right? Like in a relationship, if I have a partner, sometimes, not always, sometimes I
Hmm.
might have to put my partner's needs and wants and desires on
Okay.
on, if it is important to them,
Hmm.
maybe I'll give more weight to that person's needs at that time, because I know when the time comes they will do the
Okay.
same thing for me. So there's like a balanced seesaw. But
Hmm.
if it is
Hmm.
always me doing the favors, I'm the one
Okay.
always giving, then there would come a point that I have nothing to give. Nothing to
Okay.
give to anybody else, but more importantly, I
Hmm.
have nothing to give to myself. It's
Okay.
going to drain everything out of me. So people
Hmm.
pleasing, I think, could be many reasons we do it. Sometimes it's also our own fear. Ke, if I don't do this, I might lose this person out of my life. I might not. I might not have any
Okay.
friends. I need to do this so I can fit in the society. Or
Right.
let's say it's because the other person you're doing favors for is regarded highly in the society. So if they are in a position of power as compared to you, they have more power in the society, then you're like, okay, I might do this because I can then associate myself to that person who has more power.
Okay.
Henceforth, I will be associated with somebody who has power. But
Okay.
at the end of the day, it's gonna leave you empty. So my take on people pleasing is you need to sit down. If you think, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, yes, actually I sometimes do things for the other person that I feel like I'm always giving, 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 and never receiving. Then you need to sit down and probably create a table, write down the people in your life, and see who's always taking, who's always
Okay.
just who's also always asking, and who are the people who are giving to me as well. Anything, right? Like any favors, any help, any kind of love, any kind of support, any kind of favor. And then if you find the list of where you're like, the list where people are always asking is really long, and the people who give to you is very small, then you need to have some work to do, because now you will have nothing to give, क्योंकि आपके पास इतने सारे लोग हैं
Right.
आपके circle
Okay.
में, they're always asking and asking and asking and never giving to you.
Got it.
So
Got it.
self audit would be really important there, and like really realizing that why do I do this, asking that question to yourself, why do I do this. It will take time. If you're a person who has been a people's pleaser for a long time, you can't change like that. It would be a very slow, gradual process, and start cutting those people out of your life, slowly, and
Maybe.
then just get them out, get them out giving back.
Got it. It will be more sort of realization, you know, that now you're realizing that, okay, these are my friends, so these are that kind of person. Okay. But Shiv, yesterday I was researching more about it. So I got to know that generally, like 65% or something is the percentage, like relationships, they end because both of the partners, they are not ready to communicate. Communicate not ऐसे ऊपर से, but दिल से. कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है, लेट्स वर्क ऑन द प्रॉब्लम. दे आर लाइक ओ व्हाट यू सेड अर्लियर कि वो एक दूसरे को प्रॉब्लम मान के दे एंड द रिलेशनशिप instead of like focusing on the real problem. And imagine 65% of people end their relationship because of this problem, like not communicating much. So basically, in the end of this podcast, do you have any advice for people, those who are in relationship right now and they want to make it work?
Right. Okay. So you're asking relationship advices to a public speaking coach. I
Right.
definitely did not see this coming, but I'll say it from the same angle, right? From communicating. I think specifically in a relationship, if it is if it is your life partner, you need to figure out what the life goals are. So I would suggest both of you guys sit down and like take two diaries. So both of you take two different notebooks.
Okay.
And like, you don't show it to each other, and then you write down, what is my 1 year goal. Both of you write down on your diaries your own personal goals, right? 3 years goal, 5 years goal, 10 years goal, 20 years goal. What is my 50 years goal? Write these down separately in your own diaries, and then you read it out together. Okay, मेरा क्या 1 year goal है, तुम्हारा क्या 1 year goal है, 5 year, 20, blah blah blah. And then you figure out, okay, how many of them actually match, or if not match exactly, you're open, at least open to having a discussion. Okay, maybe for an example, when I say, when I'm 30 years old, I want to be traveling the world, and for my partner at 30 years old, maybe she wants to settle down. So we need to work, because they are very contradictory goals. So we need to see if we can communicate and see how we can make this work. So that's one of the things maybe we can do. And once you have the goals written for the long term, then you can communicate. And I think like that would really quickly tell you, okay, would you guys want to make it work by compromising? Sometimes you compromise, sometimes they
I'll
compromise,
compromise. Okay.
because your relationship is more important. Being together is more important.
Okay. But even though this question was little different from what you do, but still your answer was on point. Very good for that. But okay, so Shiv, now let's end this podcast. Like, this is what I do when I end the podcast. I keep the mic away. So, once again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I genuinely love it. Now, I'll take your last 2 minutes. So, when I first reached out to you, the reason I did it because I personally love what you do, and I can relate because I also make those kind of videos and everything. So, I was about to ask you for
Thank you,
a
Muskan.
collaboration reel. That was my first plan because I have some idea. But then I and my team were discussed and we were like that no, we need to do a podcast with him. And that's the reason we reached out to you. And it turned out so good. Like I loved it. I love talking to you. And like feeling grateful that you came on Muskan
Thank you.
Audio.
Likewise, you. No, likewise, Muskan. I think I've talked to a lot of people, and very few have the flair or the knack to keep the conversation going where it doesn't seem like a pot, like it doesn't seem like an interview, it seems like a conversation, and you're really good at it.
Right.
You are good at picking things from what somebody answers, and you can build almost a story around that. And although the questions were very different, they all were still very interconnected. So great job in directing this conversation in a
Thank
really
you.
great way. And as I said in the beginning, one of the reasons I said yes was because when I looked at your videos and you were talking to other people, I liked the way you asked questions and I like the questions that you asked. So a lot of things that you asked me today, I'm like, this is not what I generally talk about. Like, ye main nahi baat karta. But then again, you asking me that question makes me retrospect and think of that topic, think of that answer. So it was definitely great.